You know what time it is. It is TBR time. It is time to pick what I would like to read for the month of March. If you watched my last video, I talked about some of the kind of mental health issues that I was going through. And again, like I said, that I'm not gonna put that on you, but I do wanna say thank you so much for all of the well wishes. And I am starting to feel better. I am starting to kind of crawl out of it. It's not something that happens really quickly, but I'm having more good days than bad. And even on the bad days, I'm having longer periods of good in there. So that's wonderful. And I want to keep that momentum up. So while I have a normal set of prompts I use for my mood read TBR, this time I tweaked them a good bit because I don't want anything heavy. I took out the heavy categories. I don't want anything that is going to be emotionally draining because I got nothing for it to drain at this point. I'm trying to refill myself and refill my cup and all of that kind of good stuff. So I wanted to pick things that were either a total fun escape or light and breezy and enjoyable. And I just wanted a fun TBR regardless of the categories. And so that's what I've got here. So if you find yourself in a position like I am right now, and you find yourself really needing light, breezy, fun reads that are not going to emotionally tax you, then stick around and I'm going to go through some prompts and maybe you can make a TBR out of them as well. So let's get started. The first thing I picked is I really want to read this. This is the standard first prompt, and for this I picked V.E. Schwab's A Fragile Thread of Power. I picked this because it is a new book in a series that I have completed and absolutely loved. So this will be so nice to get to go back into that world. There's going to be some of the characters that I know. I'm not saying that it's going to be light and breezy, but I am saying that it's going to be familiar territory and characters that I'm going to be excited to catch back up with and go on adventures with. And so that's why this is here at the very top of the list. I have a very strong feeling that this is going to be my spring break read, the book that I just pull up a lawn chair and sit and read for spring break. And so let me tell you what this one is about. Once there were 4 worlds, nestled like pages in a book, each pulsing with fantastical power and connected by a single city, London. After a desperate attempt to prevent corruption and ruin in the 4 Londons, there are only 3. Grey London, thriving but barely able to remember its magical heritage. Red London, currently ruled by the Maresh family, flourishing and powerful. And White London, left to brutality and decay. Now the worlds are going to collide anew, brought to a dangerous precipice by the discovery of 3 remarkable magicians. There's Kosika, the child queen of White London, who has nourished her city on blood and dreams, and whose growing devotion to both is leading her down a dangerous path. Then there's Delilah Bard, born a thief in Grey London, who crossed the world to become a legend far from there. She's an infamous magician, a devious heroine, and a risk-taking rogue, all rolled into one unforgettable package. Having disappeared to seek a new adventure, an old favor now calls Lila back to a dangerous port to join some old friends who need more help than they even realize. Last there is Tess, a young runaway with an unusual and powerful ability, hiding out in Red London while trying to stay out of the limelight. Tess is the only one who can keep all the worlds from unraveling, if she manages to stay alive first. So I'm super excited. Delilah Bard is the character I most remember from the last time through, and I believe the young queen was also in it, but I am so excited to get back to this world and spend some time with these folks, and I think that's going to be a great and wonderful read. The next category is traditionally called I Want to Think, and so this is where deep, heavy kind of things go, and that is not for me right now. I know this, and I have to take care of myself. So I chose to change it to I want to think about some lighter things, like maybe love. And so for this category, I have selected a love song for Ricki Wilde by Tia Williams. Look at that cover. It just looks so romantic, and I know this isn't a super light, fluffy romance. At least it doesn't sound that way. It sounds like there's gonna be more depth to it than that, but it is still gonna be kind of centered on romance and things like less world-ending, more kind of enjoying your life kind of things, and I'm all for that. So here's what it's about. Ricki Wilde has many talents, but being a Wilde isn't one of them. As the impulsive, artistic daughter of a powerful Atlanta dynasty, she's the opposite of her famous socialite sisters. Where they're long-stemmed roses, she's a dandelion. An adorable bloom that's actually a weed, born to float wherever the wind blows. In her bones, Ricki knows that somewhere, a different, more exciting life awaits her. When a regal nonagenarian, Miss Della, invites her to rent the bottom floor of her Harlem brownstone, Ricki jumps at the chance for a fresh beginning. She leaves behind her family, wealth, and chaotic romantic decisions to realize her dream of opening a flower shop in New York City. And just beneath the surface of her new neighborhood, the music, stories, and dazzling drama of the Harlem Renaissance still shimmers. One evening in February, as the heady, curious, off-season scent of night-blooming jasmine fills the air, Ricki encounters a handsome, deeply mysterious stranger who knocks her world off balance in the most unexpected way. Set against the backdrop of contemporary Harlem and 1920s decadence, A Love Song for Ricki Wilde is a modern fairy tale of two passionate artists drawn to the magic and romance of New York, and whose lives are irreversibly linked. Doesn't that sound amazing? And it sounds like it's gonna be such a fun world to jump into. It sounds like it might be a little bit deeper than just kind of light, fluffy romance, but it still sounds like it's gonna be right up my alley for this month, and I will let you know what I thought. The next category traditionally is I Want a Good Cry, and dear God in heaven, no I don't. So I changed this to I Want a Lighter Story, and what is better as a lighter story than How to Find Love in a Bookshop by Veronica Henry? And does that not sound, okay, does that not sound like the world's best meet cute? Like you're in a bookstore and you both reach for the last copy of that book you came there for, and you're both like start talking about how much you love that author, and then you go sit in the coffee shop and then it goes from, doesn't that sound like cute? I hope that's in this book. I have no idea, but it sounded interesting, it sounded adorable, and so lighter is what I was looking for. Let me tell you exactly what it's about. Nightingale Books, nestled on the main street in an idyllic little village, is a dream come true for book lovers. But owner Amelia Nightingale is struggling to keep the shop open after her beloved father's death, and the temptation to sell is getting stronger. The property developers are circling, yet Amelia's loyal customers have become like family. For them, the shop is much more than what's on its shelves. It's a place of romance, long-held secrets, and unexpected hopes for the future. How to Find Love in a Bookshop is the delightful story of Amelia, the unforgettable cast of customers whose lives she has touched, and the books they all cherish. So it just sounds like it's gonna be sweet, it sounds like it's gonna be light, it sounds like it's gonna be heartwarming instead of like heart-heavying. It's not very long at all, and so I cannot wait to get to this one. I'm about to do something I have never done before. I am pulling something off of my recently bought that I haven't even done in a haul for you yet. I got this after I filmed my February haul. I got it literally on the last day of the month. Barnes & Noble did a triple point sale, and so I picked up some things and I was like, that one's going on this month because I need it, and it sounds adorable. So the category is I Want Twists and Turns, and the book is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. Look how cute. She's so adorable. Oh my goodness. She's just like, ooh. So this sounds like it's gonna be a blast. I love mysteries. I was watching a YouTube video from an agent on YouTube, and they were talking about how, you know, cozies have kind of gone by the wayside. And I was like, man, I miss cozies. I used to devour them, like books set in yarn shops and tea shops, and the only people killed were kind of gross people and grumpy people, and the good guys always solved it by the end. Like, I miss those. Those were just like comfy blanket books, and cozy. They were, by definition, by their name, they were great. So this feels a little cozy to me, and I picked it up and I'm like, I can't hold off. This is going in this month, and then I guess I'll just haul it after I've read it. So here we go. Vera Wong is a lonely little old lady, lady of a certain age, who lives above her forgotten tea shop in the middle of San Francisco's Chinatown. Despite living alone, Vera is not needy. Oh no. She likes nothing more than sipping on a good cup of oolong and doing some healthy detective work on the internet about what her Gen Z son is up to. Then one morning, Vera trudges downstairs to find a curious thing: a dead man in the middle of her tea shop. In his outstretched hand is a flash drive. Vera doesn't know what comes over her, but after calling the cops, like any good citizen would, she sort of swipes the flash drive from the body and tucks it safely into the pocket of her apron. Why? Because Vera is sure she will do a better job than the police possibly can. Nobody sniffs out a wrongdoing quite like a suspicious Chinese mother with time on her hands. Vera knows the killer will be back for the flash drive. All she has to do is watch the increasing number of customers at her shop and figure out which one among them is the killer. What Vera does not expect is to form friendships with her customers and start to care for each and every one of them. As a protective mother hen, will she end up having to give one of her newfound chicks to the police? Doesn't that sound adorable? It sounds so cute. It sounds so fun. I think I'm going to really, really, really enjoy this. So here's hoping that I do get to it this month, and then I'll haul it after the fact. So the next is a category that I totally changed. It was I want a good scare, and nope, not in the place for horror right now. So I changed it to I want a good story. And for this category, I have chosen Again and Again by Jonathan Evison. I love that cover. I've been so addicted to puzzles lately. I have promised y'all a puzzle video. I'm probably gonna shoot it over spring break. I've got I left them all together so I can figure out some way to show them to you, but the puzzles that I've done in the recent future. So if you are interested in that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can see all those beautiful puzzles that I've put together. But anyway, let me tell you about Again and Again. Who is Eugene Miles? A lonely old man clinging to his delusions and rehearsing his fantasies? Or a legitimate anomaly? A 1,000-year-old man who continues to search for the love he lost so long ago. What we do know is that Gino is living out his final days in an elder care facility, bored and curmudgeonly as he struggles to connect with his new nursing assistant, Angel. Gino's latest caregiver is skeptical of his insistence on having lived a string of lives dating all the way back to medieval Spain, where, as a petty thief, he first lucked upon love only to lose it and spend the next 1,000 years trying to recapture it. As Angel comes to learn the truth about Gino, so too does the reader. And as his miraculous story comes to a head, so does the biggest truth of all, that love, timeless, often elusive, is sometimes right in front of us. Evison's epic of empathy and emotional journeys from Moorish Spain to Victorian England and 1930s Los Angeles, pulling each storyline in life together into a tapestry with beautiful artistry that explores the intricacies of human connection. An ode to love in all its forms. Gino's story reads fast and hits hard and stays with the reader long after finishing the book. And if that is not exactly what I need, I don't know what is. It sounds wonderful and engaging and engrossing, and I am so excited to get to this one this month. The next category is I Want an Escape, and so that is for fantasy, sci-fi type things. And so Yes, I am doing it. It is Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries. I just picked up the second one in a haul, the haul before this last one. So I now have the two that are out. So if I love this one, then the next one will end up probably on next month's TBR. But that's right, there's no dust jacket on these. It's one of those where the cover is printed on the cover. So let me tell you what it's about. Cambridge professor Emily Wilde is a genius scholar who is writing the world's first encyclopedia of fairy lore. And Emily lives for her work. She emphatically prefers the company of her books, her dog Shadow, and the fair folk to other people. Mood. So when she arrives in a hard-scramble village in the far north, Emily wishes only to focus on her studies. She certainly doesn't have time for another new arrival, her dashing and insufferably handsome academic rival, Wendell Bamblebee, who manages to charm the townsfolk, muddle Emily's research, and utterly confound and frustrate her. But as Emily gets closer and closer to uncovering the secrets of the hidden ones, the most elusive of all fairies, lurking in the shadowy forest outside the town, she also finds herself on the trail of another mystery. Who is Wendell Bamblebee? And what does he really want? To find the answer, she must unlock the greatest mystery of all, her own heart. Ah, yes! Yes, I'm so excited. This is gonna be amazing. I'm gonna have to take some days off work to read because all of these have me so excited and feeling so like energetically overjoyed to get to them. I have to read all of these, and this one especially, yes. The next category is I want a challenge. And so for this one, because I didn't want a mentally taxing necessarily challenge, I went kind of for length. It doesn't look that long, but it is 400 pages. But I picked The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. And this is another one that I just hauled. A lot of these I hauled very recently. They're the things I was the most excited about, and so those were the things that were speaking most to my heart. But I'm really excited for this. So, Cassie Andrews works in a New York City bookstore, shelving books, making coffee for customers, and living an unassuming, ordinary life. Until the day one of her favorite customers, a lonely, yet charming old man, dies sitting at his usual table in the store. Cassie is devastated. She's always loved his stories, and now she has nothing to remember him by. Nothing, that is, but the last book he was reading, and one other he left for Cassie. But the other book, covered in faded, cracked leather, is no ordinary book. It is the Book of Doors. Inscribed with enigmatic words and mysterious drawings, it promises Cassie that any door is every door. She just needs to know how to open it. Soon, Cassie is approached by a gaunt stranger in a rumpled black suit. Drummond Fox is a Scottish librarian who keeps watch over a unique set of rare volumes. The tome in Cassie's possession is not the only book with great power, but it is the one most coveted by those who collect them. Now Cassie is being hunted by the few people who know about the special books. With just her roommate, Izzy, to confide in, she has to decide if she will help the mysterious and haunted Drummond protect the Book of Doors and the other books in his secret library's care from those who would do evil. Only Drummond knows where the library is, and only Cassie's book can get them there. But some are willing to kill to obtain those secrets, and a dark force, in the form of a shadowy, sadistic woman, is at the very top of that list. So this is definitely going to be a lot heavier than anything else that I picked, but it's heavy in the kind of fantasy escapey sort of way, and so I still think it's going to be a good one for me right now, and I am so excited for it. The next category is I want a seasonal read. It is spring break month. It is starting to get warmer, so for me, I'm going to say that something that's kind of rom-com-y is going to fit here, and I'm going to go for Say You'll Be Mine by Naina Kumar. Look how cute that is. Yeah, this just released, even though it's in paperback. I don't think it came out in hardcover, but I am so here for this one. Okay. Magna Rahman defied her parents' wishes and followed her life's passion, becoming a theater teacher and aspiring playwright. When she discovers that her beloved writing partner, best friend and secret crush, Seth, is engaged, and not to her, she realizes that he's about to become the one that got away. Even worse, he's asked her to be his best man. And even worse than that, she agreed. Determined to move on, Magna agrees to let her parents introduce her to a potential match. Maybe she could marry the engineer that her parents still wish she'd become. Grumpy engineer, Karthik Murthy, has seen enough of his parents' relationship to know that marriage is not for him. To make his mother happy, though, he's agreed to her matchmaking attempts, never dreaming that he would meet someone as vibrant as Magna. He can't offer her anything real, but a fake engagement might help her smooth the sting of planning Seth's wedding festivities and also help Karthik avoid the absurd number of setups his mother has planned for him. As the two find common ground, grow protective of each other's hearts, and start to fall for the traits they originally thought they hated, an undeniable chemistry emerges. But soon, their expectations and insecurities threaten something that became a lot more real than they planned. That just sounds adorable and fun and sweet, and I am absolutely here for this. This looks like a read all day and do it in a day book, so that's probably what will happen with it, but I'm excited. I'm excited for everything in this, but this might be the one I am the most excited for. The category is I've wanted to read this for a while. This is something that has been sitting on my bookshelf for a long time. I have told you that my number one most favorite romance book is Emily Henry's Beach Read. Now, my least favorite is also an Emily Henry, but we're not going to go there right now, but I have heard that the book that is most like Beach Read is this one. I've had it on the shelf for a long time, and I think it is time to give it a go. And this is Emily Henry's Book Lovers. How cute. I just love the way that, Emily Henry books covers look. I just think they're adorable. Okay, so here is Book Lovers in case you don't know. Nora Stevens' life is books. She's read them all, and she is not that type of heroine. Not the plucky one, not the laid-back dream girl, and especially not the sweetheart. In fact, the only people Nora is a heroine for are her clients, for whom she lands enormous deals at a cutthroat literary agency, and her beloved little sister, Libby. Which is why she agrees to go to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina for the month of August, when Libby begs her for a sister's trip away, with visions of a small town transformation for Nora, who she's convinced needs to become the heroine of her own story. But instead of picnics and meadows or run-ins with a handsome country doctor or a bulging four-armed bartender, Nora keeps bumping into Charlie Lastra, a bookish, brooding editor from back in the city. It would be a meet-cute, if not for the fact that they've met many times and it has never been cute. If Nora knows she's not an ideal heroine, Charlie knows he's nobody's hero. But as they are thrown together again and again in a series of coincidences no editor worth their salt would allow, what they discover might just unravel the carefully crafted stories they've written about themselves. Oh my God, that sounds so amazing. It's been one of those books that I've had on the shelf to save for like a special occasion. I have a number of those special occasion reads, and I think it's the occasion. I think it's the time. I know I'm gonna love this one. There's nothing in the back that makes me think I won't, and so I absolutely cannot wait for this. The next category is I loved this so much I want to reread it. And for this, I've gone with Martha Wells' Artificial Condition. This is book 2 in the Murderbot Diaries. I reread book 1 month before last, and so I've already talked to you about it. I think I read it in January, and so I can't read the back of this because it is the sequel and I don't want to give things away, but Murderbot is great. Murderbot is a security unit, kind of android. It's got some kind of, looks a little bit human, but it's not. It has managed to disengage the thing inside of it that forces it to follow directions. So it now gets to choose if it's going to follow directions, but it can't let people know that it has its own autonomy, or they could scrap it or try to get into it and adjust things so that it loses its own self in the process. So this is the second book. The first book ended in a really great place where we could end up anywhere. So I am really excited to get to this one. I think through 5, but this is the only other one I've read. So after this, they're going to be new for me, which I am super, super excited for. The next category is Oh Shiny. And if you're like, wait, you said you were for sure going to read something this month, where is it? Well, here it is. This is Nora Goes Off Script by Annabel Monaghan. And I'm super excited for this. I just picked this one up and I cannot wait to get to it. Let me tell you what this one is about. Romance Channel screenwriter Nora Hamilton knows the formula for love better than anyone. But when her too-good-to-work husband leaves her and their 2 kids, Nora turns her marriage's collapse into the best script of her life. When it's picked up for the big screen and set to film at her home with former sexiest man alive, Leo Vance, cast as her ex-husband, Nora's life will never be the same. After shooting wraps, Nora finds Leo on her porch with a half-empty bottle of tequila and a proposition. He'll pay $1,000 a day to stay for a week. She could use the money, but it's the need in his eyes that makes her say yes. 7 days. It's the blink of an eye or an eternity, depending on how you look at it. Enough time to fall in love, enough time to break your heart. And I've had a few people, I just hauled this in the last video or the video before that, and I had a few people say that I think it was last video, and they said that they loved it, that it's totally gonna work for me for this, and so I'm really, really excited to get to this. Speaking of, thank you all so much for all of the comments. I think I said something at the beginning, but just in case, thank you so much for the comments and the recommendations for books. I actually have a few of your picks coming with my Book of the Month box, which is on its way. So please go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss that video or any of my others. And now for the last book, which I'm going to admit to you, I already read, because there's a really good chance when you're watching this, I'm at book club. The category is I have to read this. It's for things that are book club books, buddy reads that you've promised a friend you'll read with them, those things that have to take priority because there's a time limit. And so this was the pick for book club. Book club let us vote, and I voted for this. Normally it's not a vote thing, but she had a whole bunch of books out and she had us vote. And I voted for it just because I already owned it. So I was like, well, here's a good excuse to read it. And it's Julia Bartz' The Writing Retreat. I have opinions, I have things, yeah, like I said, I've already read it. So at the end of the month, it will be in the wrap up and I will tell you all of my thoughts. I guess I should read you the back or the tab so you can kind of see what it's about. Alex had all but given up on her dreams of becoming a published author when she receives a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Attend an exclusive month-long writing retreat at the estate of feminist horror writer Rosa Vallow. Even the knowledge that Ren, her former best friend and current rival, is attending doesn't dampen her excitement. But when the attendees arrive, Rosa drops a bombshell. They must all complete an entire novel from scratch during the next month, and the author of the best one will receive a life-changing 7-figure publishing deal. Determined to win this seemingly impossible contest, Alex buckles down and tries to ignore the strange happenings at the estate, including Rosa's erratic behavior, Ren's cruel mind games, and the alleged haunting of the mansion itself. But when one of the writers vanishes during a snowstorm, Alex realizes that something very sinister is afoot. With the clock running out, she must discover the truth, or suffer the same fate. A claustrophobic and propulsive thriller exploring the dark side of female relationships and fame, The Writing Retreat is an unput-downable debut novel from a compelling new talent. Okay, I've already read it, so I'm not going to give my review here. Please go ahead. I never asked this many times, but please go ahead and subscribe so you'll see when I do my wrap up at the end of the month. I will tell you, the tone is not in the blurb. The tone is very different. It's the I can't wait for book club just because I need to talk about it. Like, I don't know if this was a 2-star or a 4-star read for me. It wasn't a lot, but the tone, that makes it seem a lot more straightforward than it really was. So you might like it, But if you really love that blurb, that's not exactly what this book is, but it is what happens in the book, kinda, sorta, in a way, if that makes any sense. I'm so sorry. I probably should have even said that I've already read it, but I've already read it. So that's where I am. If you would like to know more, go ahead and subscribe. Make sure you watch my wrap-up video at the end of the month. I often forget to mention it, but there is a 13th category, and it is I would rather read this. And it just means that anytime something else on my shelf is screaming at me, read me instead of what you picked out, that's what I read. So I've not done that in a while. I came close last month, but then ended up still picking something that I had pulled. If you want to use my prompts, understand that you get a 13th prompt of just picking something different, so you're never hemmed into just one group. I also want to make sure that it's clear that I never do punishments, I never do any kind of things like that. Reading should never be punished. I know I always pick more books than I can read in a month. It's to give myself options without giving myself too many options that I don't read because I don't want to have to pick something. So it narrows it down to 12, and then out of that I tend to read about half of them, some months less, again depending on my mental health. February was a pretty light reading month with all that was going on for me. Thank you so much for watching this much of this video. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here so that we can talk books. Let me know down in the comments below what you plan to read in the month of March. And in the meantime, I hope you have an absolutely amazing week and that you get to read some really amazing books, and books that I hope fill your cup and help you get through your day. Bye, y'all.